Our Father in heaven, we're so grateful to be here this evening in this meeting and to be able to gain greater understanding in our callings and the things we can do to help our fellow mankind. Pray thou bless us and give us the insight and direction that we need and the mental capacity to be able to perform our jobs and serve our fellow mankind. Bless us this night, we pray in the name of thy Son, Jesus the Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Bill. And we could start off, Jerry, if you would be willing to kind of give us an overview of, what has happened with COVID.
VOAD.
VOAD, yeah. Steve's been very good. Steven's been very good about, documenting and sending out information on what he's experiencing, what he's doing, and the opportunities that are there for anyone who would like to go down there and participate. Do you have any information on when that is going to end? Do they have a cap on that, Jerry?
So let me kind of, in a nutshell, what I do know.
Please.
I think a lot of people think that this is a fairly small incident with maybe 50, 75 homes, when indeed it's several hundred homes.
Almost 900.
Yeah, and I would guess it's somewhere around 500, Terry, are displaced. Is that about a 500 or 600 in there? So I guess where I'm going with this is it's a large incident. This is very much different than the fires. In as much you have a fire, it's done and over with, and you walk away. These flood situations are long-term. In talking to Valerie from VOAD, she says this could go as long as 2 years. Now, I'm assuming that's with the families and so on and so forth, not necessarily for us as VOAD participants. But nevertheless, there are a lot of needs as of right now, 3 of which, maybe it's 4 by now, 1 of which is to man the DRCs. We could use some help down there in multiple shifts to work those. They're running from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m., 7 days a week. And there's 2 different sites. One is in Spring Valley, and the other one is, where is it, Terry? Anyhow, there's another
Mountain View.
Mountain View, thank you. That we need people to man the VOAD booth and easily to be trained. And it's just we need some help in helping the people as they come by. The other need is we will shortly be needing some help unloading I've been told 30-foot, I'm not sure if it's 20, 30, or 40-foot container filled with desks and file cabinets, chairs, and I'm not sure what all for the caseworkers that are going to be at the warehouse. And I'm kind of ramrodding that a little bit in as much as Craig Pond, my good buddy here, has the equipment to move that container once we assess if we can move it, and B, how much it weighs, can we load it, and so on and so forth. So I've just got to get with him, and he and I are going to go out and take a look and see what we can see and go from there. We need some people to help with the crisis cleanup website to keep it up to date, make phone calls, make sure that the entries are correct and that type of thing. And then at some point, in not too far distant, we're going to need some help in delivering the prepared, I guess they're hot and cold prepared meals to the various hotels where people are being housed on a temporary basis. And so there's a lot of meals going on. I have been in contact with Sister Jimenez, and she's working on that. She was on a Zoom meeting with us earlier in the week, and so she has a pretty good feel of really what's going on, and has indicated what the church will do. So she's on that end of it, but according to the County of San Diego, they're going to need help in the delivery. And I says, what are you thinking? And she said, well, we'll take trucks, we'll take vans. If anybody happens to have a box truck, that would be a great thing. I had heard at one time that there was 3 hotels involved. As of a few days ago, I find out there's several hotels that are not necessarily close to each other. So the situation, and not to mention that we still need the mucking out and so on and so forth. some of which, by the way, is in my stake, which my stake president is quite aware of. And so this situation is going to be fluid. It's going to be, we need you today, we need you for a few days, we won't need you for another 3 weeks. It's just going to be a hit and miss deal. Most of the stuff that we're going to be asked to do, with the exception of the mucking and so on, is going to be relatively, I think, easy on the Saints. And that's kind of a 50,000 foot view of what I know at this point. Terry, is there anything that I've missed, you think, here or not?
No, that sounds like it covered pretty well. Did the other warehouse also already get filled with the PPEs and the mold suppression chemicals and stuff?
I don't know about the chemicals. It had PPEs in it. It had a lot of, I don't know when you were there last, but it's full of stuff. I was there on Tuesday, and I haven't been back since Tuesday, and I haven't seen anything else that was there, but I'm sure that there is by now.
Yeah, okay. Well,
And
that sounds about right.
And I have not bothered you, and I don't intend on it either. I figured, I'm just going to handle what I can. Steve and I are doing the best that we can with what we've got, and our stake president's going to put the word out to let people know in our stake that there's a need and there's some service if anybody feels prompted that they would like to help. And I'm trying to get that DRC to free up Valerie and free up Steve to an extent, and see if we can get some of our members to run that. So that's my immediate push at the moment. So, and we don't want to exclude anybody. This is members, non-members. I don't care what ward, what stake you're in. If you can serve for 4 hours one day this week, we'll take it. That's kind of the way this goes right now. Pretty simple.
Someone in my stake suggested getting Just Serve involved.
I have. I talked
Okay.
to our Just Serve, and she talked to, help me out, what's her name from the region?
Yeah,
Robin Gephardt.
Yeah, Robin. She's talked to Robin, and everybody's got the thumbs up. So she's gonna be putting that out as soon as we kind of get some more information from our stake president. So that will be forthcoming as well.
Yeah, we're gonna post it to ours as well. I just have to get it over to the guy in our stake that's in charge of the Just Serve website.
Perfect.
Just Serve's kind of because a lot of times it's something where an individual, scrolls to look to participate with something, and then they join at their own leisure. In this case, where there's some immediate need, stakes and wards can use the link to forward on to their Elders Quorum and Relief Society and other organizations, so that people can join right away and they can push it.
And that's my intent, is to get to the Elders Quorum Relief Society in at least in my ward, and try to get it to the stakes, or to the other wards in our stake. And having people come in from northern wards, we're great, but that's a long drive for those folks, and we don't want to overburden them. But if they have a need or desire to want to do this, we would absolutely love it.
I would suggest for Howard and Bill, I don't know what your schedules are, but when an event happens, an emergency event happens, and VOAD and the county get involved and they open up these,
Disaster.
what was it called before? It was the Disaster Recovery Center. It was called something else, and it's slipping my mind now.
The LAC, the
local assistance center. The first thing they'll do is they'll open up a local assistance center, and and then after that has been going and they get people enrolled and knowing about the programs, then they'll switch it to some point to be a recovery center. And they're still doing intake because people miss the assistance center, but then it's more directed at those who have already enrolled and getting them going. And the 2-year thing, it is kind of for families in that sense of how long it takes for them to get back between funding and rebuilding and getting back to their normal. it can take up to 2 years, and that's almost for any event really. But I think Howard and Bill, if you have an opportunity to maybe go down there at least one day and see what that's like, because in the event that ever happens in your area and something like this rolls out, it would give you a base to understand what the processes are and how and if your stake would get involved in the future. So some of these needs that they're talking about right now, yes, stakes can get involved, but also just an individual can get involved without needing priesthood authority behind it. So if you wanted to take time and just go down for a 4-hour and kind of get trained on what the script is and what it is that they're talking to the people and maybe interact for that period of time, then I think it's a really good training basis for future, just so that and even if you're never in that situation, but knowledge you can pass on to the next person coming in.
Maybe somebody could shoot us that address in Spring Valley.
Well, let's see.
Could someone shoot us that address in Spring Valley?
Yeah, Jerry's kind of looking around right now.
Oh,
Yeah, I've got it here. Bear with me a second. I'm going to run in the other room and get it for you.
All right.
And,
When you get back,
I do have another question too. So how many stakes were involved with the flood, and what stakes were they?
Two that I know of, that was San Diego and South.
However, it has affected El Cajon at some levels, so they are
That's
involved
what
a
I was
little.
going to talk to Jerry about that, because that's
So in
that
San
hasn't
Diego,
been in the discussion till just kind of peripheral way of
If
late.
you look at the crisis cleanup map, you'll see that some of the areas in there are also, were they directly affected by the exact same water that was going through San Diego and South? Maybe, maybe not. I mean, everybody kind of got different amounts in their areas. And it takes a while sometimes for a person to get notified that there are these assistances available. So it's not unusual for a month, 3 months down the road for someone to go, what, that was going on? And then they get on the map. They're behind the curve, but they were still affected at the time of the event. So it kind of varies just because of getting the word out.
The big difference between the LRCs, the Local Assistance Center, and the DRC, the Recovery Center, is that the DRC now has federal people in it, i.e. FEMA and SBC, Small Business Administration, as well as some other booths, but certainly not as many as what was at the original LAC. And so that's the big difference, is now you've got money involved and people are looking for money. So the Spring Valley address is 836 Kimpton, Kempton Street in Spring Valley. And I will go ahead and give you the second one since I have it. It's called Mountain View Community Center. By the way, the first one is the Spring Valley County Library.
oh, okay.
And the other one's Mountain View Community Center, and it's at 641 South Boundary Street in San Diego. BOUN
Was the number 161?
641 Boundary.
Okay. And that was in what city?
That's in San Diego.
San Diego.
And if there's 2 or 3 people that come down from the north, I would be more than glad to meet you brethren at whichever one you're at, and at least try to get you through a tour of the warehouse so you can see what's going on there and just what it consists of, just to kind of give you an insight as to what's happening.
Yeah, we'll try to break away from the Lost North tribes and see if we can hook up with you guys.
Perfect. Just let me know, and I'd be more than glad to assist you in any way that I can.
Okay, could you give me your telephone number?
It's 619
Uh-huh.
520
Uh-huh.
7978, and that's Jerry Hansen with an ON.
Thank you very much, Jerry.
You betcha. And for what it's worth, I'm in the Hillsdale ward in El Cajon State.
Yeah, coordinate through Jerry. That would be great. And then I know Stephen's keeping a spreadsheet on times and shifts and stuff. So maybe you guys can.
Probably have to make it in the afternoon. So what's the shift time in the afternoon?
Well, it's actually a 4.5 hour shift. It's from 10 to what, 2:30 and 2:30 to 7.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is a real good opportunity, I think, to get that hands-on a bird's eye view of, you know, what to expect if this ever rolls out into your area. So it'd be well worth your while.
And then Terry, I'm sure you've heard that the South Stake is loosening up a little bit, realizing that we don't need priesthood involvement, that we can just have those that want to volunteer from their stakes, they can come and do that. You're aware of that? Okay.
No, if that's new email from today, I haven't read through it, but I know they
No,
were
that
pretty
was-
rigid there to begin with. So
Yeah, that was from earlier in the week. I guess Kirk is kind of ramrodding this now. I guess the word got down to from the stake presidents, and he said, "Well, if people want to volunteer, we certainly, you know, on a non-church organized event, we should
Right.
probably at least give them that opportunity." So I
Yeah.
thought that was kind of interesting as well.
yeah, it is, I think, important to note. And I updated our area plan and sent that out. I don't remember if I sent it out to all the ERSs, but I definitely sent it out to President Walton and Elder Clark. But again, once a multi-stake event is declared, certainly Elder Clark oversees it, but he has the right to assign a point person, for lack of a better term right now in my head. And he did assign Neil Walton, our agent stake president, to run interference. So it's kind of interesting that they're still looking for Elder Clark to give them direction when really it should be coming from President Walton. But I did outline a very clear chain of command for the future. But again, it is, you know, each stake president's prerogative. So I definitely don't want to buck priesthood authority in that sense. But
Well, I'm very pleased on my stake presidency. I talked to him on Sunday and used him as a sounding board. And as soon as I started talking, he started texting to the stake president, and the stake president's on board. He just needed some more information. So that's when I met up with my president on Tuesday, and I took him to all 3 locations. And he said, "Well, boy, this helps me a lot. This is kind of bigger than what I thought it was going to be, and there's a lot more to it."
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
yeah, and Bill and Howard, just again, case in point for you going forward, it's so important for your callings to be involved in what's going on in the county and be able to, like Jerry and Stephen Egbert have been, be that information point person that you're passing this on to the stake president, because surely they have so many responsibilities. It's hard for them to be spread that thin and get that kind of in-depth knowledge. So Jerry's been, like he just said, very crucial for his stake president to be able to pass that information on correctly. So it gives that stake president, you know, the opportunity to move forward on something in a quick manner. So thanks, Jerry.
And I might point out, we've done fires. We know how they're done. This is the first time San Diego's had a flood, if you will. Pretty common on the east coast, but certainly not here in San Diego. And this is much bigger than I thought it was going to be. And then I know it's a matter of time and we're going to be stuck with earthquake at some point in time, not too distant, in my opinion. And I'm telling you, that's going to be quite a rodeo.
That'll be an all hands on deck for sure.
Yep.
Well, Terry, have you had a chance to talk to President Walton in your interactions lately about the Stephen said that he so we're not going to do any mucking, and I guess this is really rather moot, because if it's not going through him, then it doesn't matter. Or unless there's some, I mean, I could say I've known that some people have moved back into their homes and then moved out, you know, because it was just not comfortable to live in. And I mean, I know that there's 2 things where mold is challenging, and one is remediation. But the first is if you don't do anything and it's in your home, in the walls, and starting to seep through and form on the outside of the wall. So remembering that when we all went to help with the fires years later, they tell us, "Oh, that's not good. Don't do that." And I'm wondering if that might be what President Walton was concerned about with the mucking out. Do you have any insight to that, Terry?
No, he hasn't been able to respond to my call to talk to him more detail about that.
All right.
But I am looking forward. I think it would be a good idea to bring him on board and see if he can participate and clarify some of that for us on
Yeah,
the
that would
next
be good.
Thursday meeting. And
Yeah, that is a great idea. And Jerry, what is your assessment of where these homes in your area were located, and why did
I've
they?
got I've got a few in well, there's probably a half dozen in El Cajon. I think we've got one or two in Lakeside. We've got one or two that's on the border between us and Spring Valley. And honestly, I haven't had a chance yet to do anything about it until I hear from our stake president to what extent.
Yeah.
Here's how the mucking stuff goes. All you need is 6 people, 6 men, a wheelbarrow, some shovels, and some muscle. Because in some cases, you're taking furniture out of the house, you're trying to get the mud out of there, although at this point, probably quite a bit of it's become hard mud by now. And that's been our extent. We don't do drywall, we don't do carpets. And in a lot of cases, it's been a situation of a garage, or at least below the 18-inch level. And the 18 inch is a critical level because of electrical receptacles, as you can imagine on that.
Yeah.
So I haven't checked into them. I've checked a couple of them, a 92-year-old lady that can't do much and she needs help, and that kind of stuff that I've seen on the crisis cleanup website. And so until my stake president gives me the thumbs up, that one will be, trying to get an assignment. My whole point was, if he had 6 people, he had 36 people, you get 6 homes done in one day. That's kind of cool. It's not like you have to have all hands on deck for a fire.
Right.
This can be done with a fairly small group of people and accomplish quite a bit. So to me, that's a big plus.
That is a big plus. And my interest in this is, and I don't have a handle on this, when this rain came and we started to be notified by the media that there were communities that were flooding, I don't think we were tuned into, making that an all-out contact of all members to see if they had flooding issues. And come to find out, there were people in our stake, not many, but in our stake who were members who were in that area, and some of them may have been, and I don't know how they couldn't have been affected by the flood. So I don't know if we in the stake reached out to them. They're in the first stake, or first ward rather, and that is a big, huge, sprawling ward, which tends to be a repository for all addresses or all members that we don't know where they live. And we can't track them down. So it's a huge, huge ward roster. So I'm looking at this because it is new that we have floods, to try and figure out where should we be looking, who should we be contacting first. And because of that, I found this site here, and this is a FEMA flood map. And what it does, it takes you put in your zip code, and it shows you all of the areas in that zip code that are prone to flooding. And it's really helpful. I mean, I don't know if I can, you can scroll through it and move it around and take it to different areas that you want to. Like here we have a Tecolote Canyon. Down through here, it's a natural pathway for the water to go down to Mission Bay. But this in here is residential. And so what I will be doing in our stake, and certainly in my ward, is identifying all of those areas that are flood prone and making sure that we contact at least those people when we get a lot of rain, and when we hear that flooding's happening anywhere else in the ward or in the county, that we might want to start then, or I don't know exactly how we would prioritize that. But I don't
Hey,
know.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
did you access that map on the FEMA website then?
If you put in FEMA flood map, you'll find it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mike, do you have access to the crisis cleanup?
No, I don't. I don't have access.
Well, I do.
Oh, yeah.
Terry, do you have access?
I haven't gotten into it for a while, but I did at one point. Yeah.
If you can get into it, I don't know if you can share, but if you can share, I think that would give everybody kind of a good description of what's going on. I will tell you that a fairly good percentage of the flooding problems has come from actually the county that hasn't cleaned out these storm drains, and they were just all plugged up.
And that's what really has my interest piqued, because I felt a little bit secure in, outraged certainly, but a little bit secure that the failure was in lack of maintenance and not lack of infrastructure. And so I'm not aware that we've had any in our ward. And that's why I was really interested in what was happening in El Cajon, a fairly large number. I mean,
Well,
if it's isolated incidents. If I don't have, for instance, if I don't have pumps running at my house when it rains, then the water will come into my house, and it'll flood it.
right.
So-
And I think with the areas that I have are spotted here and there and that kind of
Uh-huh.
stuff, much like you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, for instance,
So-
I had a member who had flooding. She called me during one rainstorm a while back. It was the one before the hurricane that gave us a lot more water than the hurricane did. And she said, "I understand you have a generator, and I have a pump, but when the power goes out, I'm going to need a generator to keep my pump going because it floods a lower room in your house." And that's, well, I'm sorry. I wish I could help you, but that backup.
Well,
is just to keep
understand
running.
that a very high percentage of this was a lot of water in a very short period of time. That was the main problem with all of this. It was just a matter of too much at a very short time, and it just flooded everybody out. So it's very uncommon for San Diego, obviously, but you couple that with the situation of storm drains, and it does make for a fierce problem.
Right. And I don't think that the Choya channel there is well, it didn't, the others didn't flood, so it was like the worst. And
So, Mike, do they show anything on this map down to the South Bay area, National City, South Spring Valley area?
well, yeah, I mean, you type in a zip code. You got a zip code for me?
Um,
It's the easiest way to do it.
oh,
Do you have it
gee,
on
what
that
would it be?
address you gave him?
Let me see if I do have it. Let's try the zip code of 91977.
91977. Spring Valley. Okay, so we got a little spot. Now we got quite a bit here down in Bonita. The golf course, that's kind of like Mission Valley. Everybody knows the golf course is going to flood out in Bonita.
Yeah, that's
But
what's that area right there? That's kind of up in the upper left a
Paradise.
little bit.
upper left,
Paradise?
Paradise.
That's Hemmershaw Road that I'm looking at.
Hemmershaw Road, yeah, Imperial Avenue.
Yeah, you need to go a little bit west. Then I'll give you another one in here if you want to try. That's Boundary. I don't think it was there. See if you can go a little bit.
Hey, there's Guyman Street.
Oh, it truly is.
Yeah.
Did you know that there?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I did. There was a rich guyman who lived in San Diego, not closely related, so we couldn't get any money from him. But
Gary, did you have any luck pulling it up or not?
Yeah, I pulled it up. I do want to say, Mickey, and for ERSs, I think something now that we understand better through this event is when we do initially go through our stakes awards to check on our members, if we know of a local assistance center, we should probably offer that to our members to spread the word in case they hear of anyone that needs that information. Because that's kind of one of the harder things was, again, getting that information out to people who had lost, internet and the ability to receive normal communications, power and whatnot.
So Terry, I have a list that I would be more than glad to read off real quick of the local assistance centers and the people that are there. If I could share that, or would you like me to?
Okay.
Yeah, could you maybe scan it or copy it and make it available rather than reading it to us?
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I can probably do that.
Could you do that? Yeah, reply if you reply to the invitation tonight and attach it.
14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 entities, 26 booths, if you will, at the local assistance center.
Wow.
Yeah, it's that one-stop shop to get everything kind of in the works to restore whatever your needs are. If Mike Diamond,
Yeah, you want it? You
can
want
you
the
turn
screen?
it over to me
Yeah.
for sharing? I don't know if I can through my iPad.
No,
I
give it a
don't
shot. You should be able to. Give it a try.
I have a green tab that says share content. You think that's it?
Yeah, that's probably it.
Share screen.
You may not be used to finding it like you are on your computer, but keep
I mean,
plugging.
this whole process is kind of like an onion. You just kind of got to start peeling it back.
Yeah.
It's all encompassing. It's I think time consuming to try to figure out what's really going on. And it changes weekly, if not daily.
Here's the thing, when I'm on the Zoom call and I'm seeing everybody,
Yeah.
I see the tab to share content, but then it says share screen, but it's you guys that are on the screen. So then it wants to go back to Zoom. I have to clear you on my iPad and put
Well,
you in
can
the
you-
corner
can
to
you-
get back to my
yeah,
screen
yeah.
with the crisis cleanup.
Yeah, I have to.
And then I don't have access to the tab to share. So
Well, can you like on the computer, you just minimize the window, and then you see the content to share in the background, and you select it, click on it, and then do
I
share
don't
screen.
know if mine works that same
Well,
way.
start with share screen and see what that does for you.
I did, and then
Okay.
all it did was want to share and record Zoom.
Okay.
So
All right. Well,
Mike, I'm gonna send you something for your eyes only.
okay.
If you want to go on crisis cleanup, I think it's .com.
yeah, that's what I went to, crisis cleanup.
Okay. I'm there.
Okay, it's gonna ask you to log in or
Okay.
use my email address, please.
All right.
And I just texted you a password.
Okay, thanks.
Jerry and Howard, had you heard of crisis cleanup before? Do you know what
No.
that is?
No, I haven't.
I
So,
hadn't.
I meant Bill. Sorry, Jerry. I knew you did. When this event first happened, again, because we belong to the San Diego County VOAD, and VOAD was enacted, they called all their partner organizations and they started having these daily meetings, bringing everybody to the table. What can you offer? This is what the county says the needs are. And, it was very fluid, constant, new information coming in and new requests, and then trying to fill those requests on the partner orgs. And one of the things that's kind of always been a challenge is if there's an area that's in need within a stake, it's identifying those needs and then those people affected that aren't members, and then what their needs are, and then matching it to the capabilities of possible volunteers from our church to go out and help. And there has been an ongoing nonprofit organization for the last 10 years that has developed a website and a platform where all this information can be entered into the website through volunteers that do intake phone calls. So what happened, they've been doing this back east because of all the different floods and, things that have been going on back east. And it's not necessarily geared to our church, but it is run and put up by church members. And for the specific use of stakes to utilize and register as a stake, and then to go in and see the identified properties on the map and start to put together, you know, a volunteer team to vet those homes in need on the map, call them and match the needs of what they're able to do by the stake to what the homeowner needs. And that's what South Stake did initially. You know, they had a one work day Saturday. They had about 100 people come up in 2 shifts, and they were able to tackle 20 homes that day in 5 to 6 member teams. And for one day, that was very, very effective. So the idea was crisis cleanup isn't trying to advertise necessarily within the church. They're trying to advertise as a community website to be utilized, and they handle national events all over the place. But they have a hard time getting information or water all the way down to the row, as we say, within the church. And so when this event happened, Crisis Cleanup joined the San Diego VOAD, let the county know it was available. People started jumping on. But when they heard there was an active LDS contact on the VOAD board, then they talked to Stephen and I directly, and they said, please get this information out to the stakes so that the presidents and priests of authority can know it's out there and utilize it. And so South Stake did utilize it, and that's how they were able to be so successful that one Saturday. It kind of did all the work for them by already uploading potential homes that were in crisis. And then a few days prior to their event, South Stake targeted homes that they thought they could do, and then called them to find out what their needs were. And I think they initially called 60 homes, and then whittled it down to about 20 to 30 homes that matched the needs of what the
I thought they only
volunteers
did, I thought they did 16 was the number I had heard.
They did 16 in the morning, and then 4 in the afternoon shift, and a couple of those were repeat back to the same homes.
Okay.
Because it took a longer time. So
These numbers here on crisis cleanup show like 343.
Yeah, that's what I said. This isn't totally up to date. Go to click on the work, Mike.
On the what?
Work there on your left side where it says work.
Terry?
Left.
Left.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Black
see.
tab.
I'm sorry. Black
Terry,
tab.
is that like crisiscleanup.com or .org or something?
.org.
But you
.org,
have
okay.
to have, a password and stuff to get on it and kind of be quasi invited.
You have to register, and so what they do is you say, yes, I'm interested in registering, and then they call you personally, and they walk you through the process, and you become the contact person for your stake, and you can share your password and log into anyone within your stake so they can have access to it. It doesn't mean that you're controlling it and you're the only person that can get in. It's just you initiated it, so you're the contact person.
Do you tell them that you're interested on their website, and then they call you back? Is that how you contact them to let them know that you're interested?
Yeah,
Or
that's possibly right. I can't quite remember because it was a while ago, but it's something like that. Yeah.
Okay, I'll check it out.
Okay.
So there's a key in the lower left corner there that you can look at. One is the legend, and then underneath it is the case study. So for instance, that green boot, if you look at the top, you'll see where it says muck out. If you look at the bottom under the green one, it says that it's completed. Or if it's a light green, it's done by others, no help wanted, or partially completed.
Wow. Okay.
So there's a key to everything here, but all the red ones
They're unclaimed.
The red ones, what?
Unclaimed.
They're
Oh, okay.
unclaimed and need help, need work.
Okay. Yeah. Well, this will be very helpful for me to check and see out what's in our stake, because I think that we would specifically want
So
to.
you can go out, Mike, and you won't find anything up north. If you zoom out, you won't find anything.
Oh, I know, but our stake goes down to Barrio.
What stake, Mike, are you in?
I'm in the San Diego stake.
Okay.
And 15 is our border, and right as it curves down and goes,
Yep.
ends at 5. So
So
we
if you
have
go to the
people
El
down there.
Cajon, if you go to the El Cajon, you see that there's a handful out there that are mine.
Right. Bob is telling where you are when it populates. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
So there's some out there.
Now it says trees. What is that? Tree removal? I'm looking at this
Could
one
be.
left, upper left.
Yeah, there's either they need to be cut down or they need to be restacked or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Since you mentioned trees, Carl Ports, who's our equal on the United Methodist side, showed me a picture of a house, and it has a tree in the front yard. And he said, "See that tree?" And I said, "Well, yeah, it's kind of got the base of it, like, it's been chopped down." He said, "Well, yeah, but that tree doesn't belong there. It
Oh.
just happened to wash down with the roots down and the trunk up, and that's where it sits, right in front of these people's yard."
Oh, wow. Lucky people.
So I just kind of wanted you guys to see
Oh, that's awesome. Thank
the
you.
size of this and kind of how big it goes. You can click on any one of those boots or whatever, and you'll get information up on the right side. Obviously, it's for your eyes only. It tells you the person's name, their address,
Right.
and if you scroll down there on that right side, if they've got pictures, there'll be pictures in there. See, they need muck out and carpet removal and drywall removal.
Okay. Wow.
So
Now, here's the other thing to note. Crisis cleanup, they actually have volunteers that are manning the phones, and the information gets out through these LACs and DRCs and flyers that are canvassed throughout the neighborhood. So when people are calling, there are volunteers that are answering and uploading the information into this map and maintaining it. And right now, most of those volunteers are all back east because they're used to this. They really haven't gotten anyone from California to step up and volunteer to take these calls and do it locally.
Stephen is doing something, when he's down there.
they've closed that phone pool.
Oh, have they?
Yes, they have. That was closed a week or two
But
ago.
something to note for future, if there's a new event that ever comes up, they have a 1-hour training on YouTube. And again, it could be a neighboring stake not affected that doesn't need to go down and do boots on the ground, but maybe can answer the phones and take these calls. So
they do that from their house. They don't even have to go anywhere.
Yeah, they don't even have to go anywhere. You do it from your home. You just log into the website and you start answering calls from there.
Yeah,
I have learned a ton from all of this, brethren, in the 3 or 4 weeks that I've been involved here, and it's exciting to be at this level and to see what all goes on and to hear every person has a story, and it's just heart-wrenching when you hear their story and what happened, and it makes you feel pretty lucky, I guess.
And a little outraged with what happened on the Choice channel.
Yeah.
I mean, that did not have to happen.
Brethren, are there any specific questions that either myself or Terry with regards to this topic that we can answer for you? We would love to see you down there. We would love anybody in your wards that could participate. Again, I think that's a long drive for a lot of people. That's why I thought that the surrounding stakes, i.e. the San Diego stake and this El Cajon stake, which is my stake, are the two closest ones, should be involved, as it's not too tough on our members.
But there have been some members in other stakes who have wanted to participate and were initially told stand down. And I do have a question. Let's say you go down there and you go down there for one shift. Are you going to be able to be productive during, just one shift, or do you have to go down kind of one day and be trained and not be productive until you come back again?
The training is minimal. It's really, they've got a script and it's a 15, 20-minute onboarding, and then you're good to go for that rest of the 4-hour shift. And certainly to the people that it affects, it's valuable. They're not getting everyone to staff all the shifts, properly. So it's the same people going down there 4 hours, 8 hours a day. So yeah, anytime you can relieve and help out, that's great.
So the answer is yes, Mike. We can do with that.
Okay.
You bet.
You can be productive in one day. Well, that's good to know.
Absolutely.
I had a presentation prepared for tonight that had to do with emergency communication specialists. And since we really we're more in emergency response tonight, I think we've had some very valuable discussions. And there's something that has piqued my interest, and I won't be specific about this, but I got a report of a stake president coming to a board conference and telling the members to quit being chicken littles in reference to emergency so I'm kind of that piqued my interest, but really what I'm trying to, I know my stake president, I know what his interest level is, but and this was not in our mission. It was in another mission north of us. One that's not doing anything. So I'm wondering if they are, I'm trying to understand what to, what it means. And maybe it was taken in the wrong way. But there was a thing about amateur radio that, they just pulled it out and stopped it. And as the more I thought about it over time, I began to realize what the issue was. And the issue was that the authority of the priesthood brothers, the area priesthood and the stake presidents, was being usurped by the amateur radio side, the ERC side, which had been set up to be big and active and run everything. And I think that it became a negative thing for stake presidents, especially when you got to get your ham license part of it. But I guess the point being that we just really, really need to have good communication with our stake presidents and our priesthood leaders, and really, really, really let them know, because they don't have to call us. The handbook says they may call an emergency communication specialist. It does not. The church headquarters doesn't require it. They leave it up to the priesthood leaders and stake president. So just tread cautiously. I know up there in Escondido, your stake president is really all on board. President Walton's all on board, and but there may be some who are not so excited about it, or I know that there's a lot of attitude that text messaging is going to take care of everything, and cell phones are going to take care of everything, and
Hawaii's wondering what happened.
well, yeah,
you never know.
But here's the deal: there was a repeat. Just stop ham radio. There was a repeater that was up during the whole thing across the water there, Molokai, I think. There's a repeater that was up and working. They just not. First of all, they didn't have time to do any of that. It came so fast, and all anybody had time was to save themselves and try to get out. So there's not much they could have done. There was some cell damage that was done, but yeah. So, here's the deal as I look at it. Be prepared as best you can. We're putting together a preparedness manual for our ward for the request of the bishop. And so we're taking it, we're starting with water. We're going to 72-hour kit. Each month we put a new page together for this book. And now we're doing first aid. But the theme that the thing that we're telling people is organize and store what you have room for and what you have money to buy. And then once you're there, then you're there. And the other thing we keep telling them is this is like insurance. You pay it and you don't see it again unless something happens. You know, it's money that will go bye-bye if you're lucky. If you never have to have a place a claim, then you're lucky, and that money's gone, and you should just be comfortable with it. So those are, you know,
Peace
kind
of
of,
mind.
yeah, that's right. And that's what it is. And everybody's peace of mind is different. So if people don't comply or don't want to do it, that's fine. You know, we are just here to help those who want to learn. I mean, that's what sales is. You know, you're not going to make a sale to everybody. You're just looking for the people who are interested in what you have.
Yeah.
And if there's a problem,
Yeah.
then don't come to our houses for those of us that are better prepared.
Ooh, I couldn't
I'm
have
not
said that
kidding.
any
You know,
better
it's like,
myself.
Yeah.
you can camp out in my yard, but you know,
That'll be
Yeah.
easy.
that's it.
Well, my counsel is don't waste money on bullets, waste money on more food.
And
Agreed.
actually, you're not going to waste any money if you rotate it around and eat it once in a while
Yeah.
and use it and refurnish it while you'll be in good shape.
Well, I kind of think
Yeah.
that everybody where you live knows you're a Mormon, and I think you have 2 years supply and they're coming.
And that's true. And that
And
is
you-
still widespread amongst emergency management personnel,
And are they
countywide.
going to be shocked?
Hey,
Yeah.
even people in the church, I've had them tell me, hey, if there's a problem, I'm coming to your house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you know,
maybe
Well,
that's
so can I just say,
Please.
definitely as stake emergency communications, emergency response, whatever the calling is, teaching our members to be prepared for themselves so that they understand, you know, nobody is coming to rescue you. You've got to rescue yourselves, be your own hero in this story. And the idea of, you know, early on in our training, I certainly went in with protected by Winchester mentality. And through Elder Miskin and the authorities in play at the time that I was getting training up in Orange County, you know, they kind of taught me a better way. If we're following the Savior, that's definitely not going to be the sign he puts out, right? So I had to start changing my mentality. But, you know, we're all entitled to our own revelation, what's best for our
Right.
families, and then our priesthood leaders, what's best for our wards and our stakes. So we do kind of have to follow that priesthood line of authority and find the balance there. But I think for the program that we've put in place here, if you're meeting together as a council once a quarter, then you've got your priesthood leadership and your organizations all in one room, and you're communicating, including your communication person, your ward clerk, your communication director. And, you know, you're talking about these things in advance. So when something does hit the fan, you know, the first steps to take and who's going to be involved and who's not going to be involved, or at least who's going to be calling the shots. You know, to say who's going to be involved depending on the level of the emergency, so that you're not flying blind and, you know, doing the panic, that you're actually putting a program you've already established into place. And that's the hope. That's the whole purpose of establishing the area plan and the protocols that, you know, our county has put in place here under Elder Clark, or the elder authorities in charge at the time it first got going. So we feel that it was divinely inspired in that sense, you know, through a lot of prayer. And we've seen very little change to that program. What we have seen is people who want to get involved or people who don't want to get involved. And again, they have the right to that revelation of what they think is best for their stakes. But I think as you understand it and go through these events, you see how it does come into play and it actually makes sense. So to, you know, form something that's similar to it, if not following it directly, I think would benefit a stake reward. So being involved, knowing what the program is, and then having that communication with your stake leaders so that when something hits, that they know they can rely on you to be a part of the communication as a whole in the process. So
that's why Jerry is so effective, because he knows the stake. The stake goes to him. They know that he's the source because he's been there. He's learned a lot, and he goes to them and talks to them, and they come and they talk to him. So relationship is everything. Really, it is.
And I would contrast that with South Stake. Although they've got great leaders in place on the higher level, the person that was established to be the point person from our perspective was going to some of the training, but not all of the training, and then didn't put in place any communication down the road to his priesthood leaders. So when it started coming around with this event that affected their stake, we tried to go through them to give them all the information, and their priesthood leaders were going, "Who are you?" And, you know, kind of have left him out of the picture altogether. And it kind of has circumvented around that, and it's taken up a lot of time trying to get them to now understand what the needs are and how to work the program. And the fact that they were even to be involved in the county, they still kind of had that, what's the word I'm looking for?
Are you talking about Lou?
Pardon me?
Are you talking about Lou?
Yeah, I
Solomon?
am talking about Lou. I wasn't going to mention names, but, you know.
Well, I was going to tell you that
but this,
I understand that he is not in that position anymore.
I understand that too. So
Since I have you,
communication.
couple of things, Terry. Would it be advantageous for our October meeting to maybe have either Gina or Aaron introduce that to all of our stakes, or maybe have Valerie come and talk about VOAD and what it is and try to get a push for our stake presidents to come?
Okay, so Gina and Aaron are already on board. We've already asked them to come and do that presentation for the annual training meeting that we're going to have. I have brought Valerie before to talk about VOAD before. And because it's new information to people who don't really understand and had never been through an event, I actually had someone to ask me if I could tell her to sit down and shut up. They were tired of listening to her.
Oh. Well, I guess so.
So, you know, when you get more information than you're prepared for, if you're not understanding your calling and how it functions and how it pertains to, you know, your stake leaders and then a possible event down the future, then it's all going to be information that you can't, you know, take in.
I like to see, I think that meeting is more to inspire everybody.
Right.
To want, so that we can then spoon feed them information as they desired and as they need it. I mean, you get people every time, at least with what we're doing, every time we have this meeting, and I've been at it, twice now, where I was actually involved with it. You find people who are on fire, and they'll call you up, and they'll send you something, and they'll, you know, and then you can work with them, and that's all you're going to get.
And that's what you live for. Yeah, that's exactly right.
And as far as the approach, at least what I like to do, and what I tell everybody, you've heard me say this many times, is that start with the stake president. Let him know who you are, what you can do, and is it okay with him if you then work down the tree? And you get the buy-in. He knows who you are. He's not surprised when they come back and say, "Oh, this guy by the name of Guyman is doing something." They go, "Oh yeah, I know him. Yeah, I told him he could." And I keep reinforcing that all the way down with each contact that I make, that I've talked to the stake president, and he said this, that, and the other. That works for me anyway, and I think it can help us recognize the priesthood authority, find out what they're concerned with, what he would like to see, and then you can come back later and say, "How are we doing? You know, with the program in your ward? Do we need to make any adjustments? Are you happy and pleased with what we're doing? And do we need to?"
Because without that communication, they don't really understand the scope of the calling and how in depth it can be, and how it's a liaison between the community and the church members. And it's a two-way bridge, you know, for us to be able to volunteer and be a part of the community, or to utilize the resources the community has for members. So.
And the communication, I mean, that's important, but even more important is the relationship.
Yeah.
You know, if they have confidence in you, you know, we all know, and sometimes you have a relationship with somebody and sometimes you don't. If the chemistry is, you can't, you just keep trying not to make it worse, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but anyways, that's a very good suggestion, Jerry, to have Valerie come back, because it's good to circle around while it's fresh and people might be more interested. So thank you.
Yeah, you can at least consider that. I can see how that can happen, because VOAD isn't for everybody. But I would think that the ECS, the people that come to these meetings, our meetings here, I would think that I would love to see them get on a Zoom call with us, and they're more than welcome to do so.
Yeah. I was trying to get a hold of Roger today,
Oh,
to have him join us and talk about, because I still have learned nothing about what we do as communicators with VOAD. And I guess if all the government agencies, all the agencies already have their communication in place, emergency communication, then it would just be the other aspect of it where we're dealing with priesthood leaders and members. But, so I'm going to keep digging. I'm going to talk
Yeah.
to Roger and see what he knows. And,
Right.
Vicky is
And for
involved.
Bill and Howard, I think, if you don't know who Roger is, he's talking about a VOAD participant with Southwest React, and very active amateur radio person for that part of the county. And he goes to every VOAD meeting, and he's always, I got operators standing by, you just tell me what you need.
Yeah.
So
And I think that
I think that's great.
association with them, and they have some events that if we want to go down and use our radios and get a little training, that's great too, because we, as an organization, unless there is a real emergency, and if you get tired of just checking into the net, and you'd rather do something else or do both.
Right.
Okay, well, we're a little over time. It's what is it, 8:34? Thank you everybody for coming and attending. I always enjoy when we have a chance to get together. It revitalizes me. It rebuilds my faith in what we're doing, and rebuilds my faith in that we have good people helping us do it. And I admire everyone. Stephen, you just snuck in time to give the closing prayer. Are you in a place
Wait,
to do that?
I got two more comments.
Okay, please. Go ahead.
Announcements.
All right.
So if you're interested, Poway is putting on a last chance survival simulation workshop on March 16th. It's a 6-hour Saturday from 9 to 3. It's an intense workshop that is helping the resident to understand in an oncoming wildfire what it takes to survive and how to evacuate, how not to get stuck. It'll take you out in the field and show you areas that work and don't work for egress and all that. So it's a really great workshop put on the Conservancy River District, I'm probably saying that wrong, of San Diego, but also CAL FIRE and the forest people and whatnot. They come in and do this real intense workshop, very beneficial. And so that's one thing. It's going to be at the City Hall in Poway.
One question, Terry.
In the council chambers. Pardon me?
I have a question.
Yes.
I've looked at this. I saw your communication with Mike DeGraw, and it says for locals. How local?
Oh, no, anyone.
Local. Okay.
Anyone.
It's free to locals.
It's free to anyone.
Okay.
Any resident. It's a county thing. It's just going to different fire safe councils. So then the other thing is here in Poway also the San Diego Ham Forum Club. If you're amateur radio and you're interested in, they have a Monday night net that's just fabulous. It's growing. It's huge. It's amazing information on Monday nights. I don't have the frequencies or anything, but if you're interested, I can shoot it to you by email. But they are having an antenna build class on May 4th at 10 in the morning at the fire station on Community Road in Poway.
Yeah, they've had one recently as well, haven't they?
They did. They had one and it was very successful. So they've had a demand to have another one. So they've set that date.
That's fantastic.
Hey, Mike,
I think they built 10 antennas last time. So
before you sign off, I want to thank you for the invite. And I've got some good resource material here now. And seeing you and seeing all your faces again, it seems like I just stepped into a nice warm pair of slippers again. We appreciate that.
Yeah, we do.
We have you both have just been an amazing addition to our committee here. What we're doing, and your energy and your drive, and how the state president's still on board. He's still making progress.
Yes.
Very much so. Yeah, we correlate with him all the time.
That's fantastic. It's good to hear.
Yeah, and like I said, you're free to still come to our Thursday night, third Thursday emergency response thing as well. I just can't invite you anymore.
Yeah. Well, we found out that our connection actually is that that Howard Cottom is actually a distant relative of our stake presidency.
That's right.
And I am conjoined at the hip with Howard. So we're all in there.
Oh, nepotism. It's only a bad thing when you're not related.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, if you're interested, it's I think Mike Gaiman, we have the same link. We did kind of have a broken link at one time, but I think it's the same now.
Well, what I want to do is I want to make the link for a year. I have it for a year, and then I will just, I'll just kind of post it on occasion, just put it out there and say, here are the link to all the meetings that we have.
Yeah.
If you
Okay.
get lost, and you don't get an invite, there it is, and it should work. And if not, then take the night off.
Or you can always call us and say, Terry, where's the link?
Well,
I'll
it's a
send it to you.
challenge though. If I'm conducting the meeting and somebody calls me and asks me to send them an email to the link because they didn't get it, that becomes a little difficult.
Yeah, but Stephen and I can do it. So
Okay. All right. Okay.
call one of us.
All right. So Stephen is there. Are you?
I'm up in Orange County right now.
No.
My daughter went to the Hillsdale College promotion, so I'm up here
That's
listening to
very
the
good.
founder of the president of Hillsdale College.
Oh, well, that's
Back-
good. It looked like you were in the church, and I didn't want anybody in Orange County to find out that you were joining our meeting.
I'm back. I'm back tomorrow. Valerie had to take off. She's up doing meetings in Ventura County, so she won't be back tomorrow afternoon. During the meeting, I got a thing from VOAD, so I sent out the VOAD information about what's going on in the activities. You probably all got one if you paid attention. And I put every night I'll try and put what the current schedule is of volunteer opportunities.
You have
I
been
don't know
doing
if
a
any
great job. You really
I
have.
don't know if I don't even know if anybody up north wants to see that. I feel bad that they don't get to.
I
Well,
think
maybe-
Howard and Bill would like to see it.
Yeah, we would like
Well,
that. Yes.
if you would Terry, since you know who's up there,
I'll forward
that
it.
on.
And Jerry
I
said he
do
forwarded it.
get VOAD emails. Is that what you're talking about? The emails?
Yes, well, yes, but I added onto it what the volunteer openings are for down at the DRC. I would recommend, if you have a chance once in your life, come down and do a DRC shift for 4 hours. You'll learn how to what VOAD does for getting people into the system, and you'll get a chance to do crisis cleanup, because they're still coming in with mucking and mold.
And if nothing else, you're hearing the stories and how it really affected people.
Yes,
I think
that's, and if you wear,
people don't understand.
I wear my LDS badge because the LDS made a big impression when they went out that Saturday about how old they were, how they were these old men were doing this, and that it was so inspiring to these young people that were affected. I better say a prayer because they're
Okay.
tearing down everything.
We're pushing you out. All right. Thank you, sir.
Here it goes. Our dear kind Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for being able to gather at meetings like this and to strengthen each other and to understand how we need to operate when we become active in disasters. Please bless all those who are suffering, and now that they might be able to be made more whole over the following years. And we say this in Jesus Christ.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
I want a copy when I have time. I have time sometimes at the DRC to do all sorts of time between applicants that come in.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks for the info, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night. Stay dry.